Okay. If the audio okay. If the audio stops working, please let me know. All right, that's my yellow duck should be going. I see Instagram. Hey everybody. I'm gonna mute this tab. Should be able to chat. On new tab. Okay. I got a band in here practicing, but I'm gonna be editing drums in a second. And so I got a message. I got a you send it or what is this? We transfer, and it says we just want everything locked to the grid. And they sent me the tempo. So yeah, if you're sending people your drums to edit, it doesn't hurt to give them a tempo. So I'm gonna grab the files right now from WeTransfer. I'm gonna download those two. I don't know where those are downloading to. Actually, I forget where I do these projects. Well, I got to find another project that somebody had a mix of. I didn't have the proper wave file. Okay. Okay, so here we go. It's called Breakfast Club. All right. Okay, so where should I save these two? I'm gonna. That's not it. I try. Drum editing. Okay. See, so I have a bunch of these in here. I really need to ditch these. And it is awfully loud in here. I might have to. One keyboard just has way too much low end. Where's downloads? Sorry, it's taking a second. Okay, so this is called Breakfast Club. Might be a little bit of trouble using Google Drive. I've had some trouble with this lately. But let's just get going. I'll throw them all in this folder. I'm just gonna open a Reaper. I don't have a template for this or anything. I don't think I need one. We'll figure out what sample rates and everything. So let me save it to that same place. Save it to Drive, drum editing, Breakfast Club. Yeah, there's too much subs in this keys. Let me see what I can do. So if you're hearing those subs, that's just an Alto TS 310 or 410, 210, one of the, it's just a 10-inch PA speaker we use for FFR, FR stuff for guitars, or you could use it as a PA speaker or monitor or whatever. But man, it is loud. This is going to be a problem. So I'm going to, got that saved. Let's check the project settings. I want it on elastic efficient. This is kind of a big deal. So sorry, here we go. I find that elastic efficient, just in normal and balanced, sounds the best. Now you can go tonal optimized, transient optimized, no echo, no pre-echo reduction. Holy crap, that is unbelievably loud. Hope he's not blowing up my speaker, honestly. So you can choose between these. Balance seems to work pretty good. It's not perfect, but as long as we're not changing it too much, it should be okay. So this looks good. And so I'm just gonna grab all these, grab all the wave files, and I'm just gonna drag them in. And remember, they gave me a tempo, which was, what did they say, 156? 156. Okay, let's set that to the project tempo. 156. Okay. And now I have Let me show you. So I'm going to go to my action list. I have a bunch of macros saved. So if I go to find shortcut, I hit 1, that's set grid to 1. 2 is set grid to half notes. Shift 2 sets grid to half note triplets, and it keeps going like that to 64th notes, even down to, I could set it to 128th note, but I don't have anything on there. I hope I don't got to go that far. Sometimes it gets confusing between what's a triplet, 64th, what's a 128th, you know, which one is it? But, my God, this sub is just so loud. This is killing me. All right. Alrighty. Okay, so that's, first of all, now I got this set to, it's going to have this set to whole notes. And I'm going to rearrange these tracks. So that's room, snare, kick. So I put kick here, snare bottom, overhead. This is small tom, another tom. So it doesn't look like they just got a room mic and an overhead mic. It's all mono. Wow, you know, I remember this had a pretty good drummer. So first of all, I'm going to do is I'm going to select them all, right click, select. You see this I right here? It means it's a 44K file. I'm going to send them 44K back, but I'm just going to work on it in 48K for now. And I know that's a cardinal sin, right? Is resampling, but really, honestly, it's with the last teak and everything else, it's just not so bad. I could set the project setting to 44K, and it's gonna mess up a little bit, but actually I could do this right now. Let's do this. I don't know what this is gonna do audio wise. See that? So for this project set to 44K, when I go do the renderings and stuff, it should all work. Okay, so I'm gonna select them all. Right click, drag. See, right now nothing's selected. Okay, right click, drag. Now they're all selected. I'm gonna hit G to group these, and if you look in the show action list again, find shortcut. I'm gonna hit G, and that just item grouping, group items. Okay, so when I do this, they're all going to move together. Now, there's a bunch of crazy macros that you can use, and some tricks to automatically drop markers in. I'm gonna do this with stretch markers, but first of all, I'm going to find out where beat 1 is. So let me just listen to these. Okay, so it starts. You know, there's kind of a pickup. Now, right now, it looks like selecting one item in group selects the whole group. See that? Selecting one item selects group. I don't really want that on necessarily, and I'll show you why as soon as I get to the stretch markers. I have a way of kind of doing this automatically, but it is a little bit sketchy. And if you really look right now, the way I have this set up, top half of the waveform does your regular moves. Bottom half selects part of the time selection. You see how I have that set? So if you're on the bottom half of the waveform, this is doing a totally different thing than the top half, okay? You don't have to set it up like that. It's helpful for some stuff, and it's probably a pain for others. So really depends what you're doing. And again, let me know if the audio stops. Looks like it's good for now. Yeah, you know what? I can't see it if it's... Oh, man, what a pain. All right. So what I'm going to do... Get this on the one. I'd like everything to follow the kick drum, but then I'm going to have to come back and put everything on the snare. So the two tracks that I really care about here are these guys. And I have macros where you can just hold down a button and it'll just keep dropping stretch markers. But I would love to do it automatically, and let's see if we can. So I'm gonna select the kick track and the snare track, And unfortunately, this can make doubled up stuff. It's not ideal. We could do a lot with scripting to really fix this, but for now, I'm gonna go to View Dynamic Split. This sub noise is gonna kill me. I'm sorry about that. And what I wanted to do, so I'm in the Dynamic Split Items menu here. Action to perform: add stretch markers to selected items and grouped items. This minimum slice length and minimum silence length don't seem to actually work for doing this. So, but what I'm gonna do, let me minimize this. Oh, I don't want to reduce splits, but okay. So if you look on here, you can see that it's making like a little line. That's telling you where it's adding a marker. So if I go to set transient sensitivity, you can see what it's using as a threshold for the transients. And one of my macros does an automatic tab to transient. But I'm not sure I want to use it that way. I can show you how we do it splits, but I'm going to do this just by adding stretch markers. And because I've selected 2 tracks, it should drop markers on both of these. If you don't, it's only going to do it on one of the tracks. And this is something that can be a big pain in the butt. But for right now, because this track is played so cleanly, I'm betting this is going to work okay. So I'm just going to hit add stretch markers. And if you make sure you take a look, add stretch markers to selected items and grouped items. So whatever markers it drops on these 2 tracks, it's going to drop on the rest of the tracks. If you don't do it this way, some weird things can happen. So here we go. Add stretch markers. You see them all? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start lining these suckers up. And it really depends. These guys like the stuff edited crazy tight. So that's how I'm going to do this. So you can see that. So basically, these are the 2 tracks I'm really caring about. The bottom snare track and the kick track. Now, you might say, hey, why didn't you use the top snare track? Well, here you go. This is why. Notice that this top snare track, actually, I'll solo it and play it. Okay, so this top snare track sounds like an auxiliary cymbal mic, right? The bottom snare track, very clean. It's got some kicks in it, but it's nowhere near as bad. So it's not just picking up cymbals. So that's what I'm really looking at here is the bottom snare and the kick. And these 2 guys are going to tell me everything I want to know. And I could color them different maybe to know which ones are which. In fact, why don't we do that? Set, where is it? Colors. I usually have this set in a different place. Sorry that I don't know this off the bat. Image track color. So I'm gonna make these kind of a orangey color. There we go. So we know those are the tracks we're looking at. I'm also using spectral peaks here. If I go to view peak display settings, I'm using spectral peaks instead of just the regular black and white peaks or whatever. That really helps for like guitars and bass. It doesn't matter that much for drums, but it can help a little bit. And you can see that no matter what colors you pick, some things will just be hard to see, which is a bummer. But so first of all, you tell this grid resolution isn't high enough. So I'm going to go up to half notes. Still not catching this one, right? So I'm going to go to quarter notes. Now we're getting that one, but we're not getting this one. So I'm going to go to eighth notes. Okay, that's so I just hit 4. And remember, when I go to 4, I'm going to hit a 4. 4 is set grid to eighth notes. So this might not be enough, but it should be. So now what I'm going to do for now, and I could put a little, let me see what so that's a tom. So I'm going to add, which tom is that? That's this guy. I'm going to add a stretch marker to this tom. Okay, so what, you saw it just jump. I was trying to do tab to transient. And that's just by hitting the tab key. But if you look at this green line right here, if we go to transient detection settings, it's not low enough to catch it. This is like a threshold marker for a noise gate, you know, basically. So I'm going to move it down there. It's going to be a little bit more sensitive. So when I hit tab, bam, right there. I'll throw a marker on there. And so this first chunk here, I can make these a little bit smaller. That's by default, that's Control Shift down arrow. So I'm going to select just this very beginning part, do a time selection, and then I'm going to hit X, and I'll show you what X does, what I've set this to. These are just basic macros. I made some custom ones and stuff, but if I go to Find Shortcut, watch, I'm going to hit X. X is Item, Snap, Stretch Markers, and Time Selection to Grid. So that's all that does. So now that all these items in the time selection, all these stretch markers, I'm going to hit X. Bam. See how I just moved it to the grid? Okay, you hear that phasing? Something funny's going on. Okay, so we got to figure out what that is. Either some of these stretch markers didn't go, or I'm in the wrong mode, or things are moving independently, which they absolutely should not be. So let's I'm gonna grab all these tracks, right click, and I'm gonna check item settings. Is it item properties? So I'm gonna look and make sure that these are on time stretch mode, project default. They should be on elastic efficient. Let me check that again. I'm gonna add normal, yep, and then it's gonna be balanced. This shouldn't change anything. So let's take a listen. All right, this is sounding a little bit weird. So I'm gonna undo all this. I'm gonna undo the stretch markers and listen to it. See, no phasing, right? Okay, so what's going on? So let's say that I just oh, I even got rid of my orange. Let me put that back on. So kick, and this is gonna be bottom snare. Yep. So these two guys, make those orange again. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's just do the kick real quick. And so I'm gonna do. Let's just find an action. I've made some custom actions. Let's see, shortcut. So I'm gonna type in custom here. Custom. Copy and move item up. I have ones that make like automatic MIDI notes and things. Where are you? Selection time. I'm just going through my. So I made a lot of custom actions. Okay, Alt Shift Z, repeat stretch marker tab. That's that might be what I'm looking for. Shift D, auto drop. Nope. Control tab, auto drop the stretch. Okay, that might be drop no snap. Let me go to control tab. Let's look at this. So if I go to edit action, move cursor to the next item, add stretch marker at cursor. Okay, so I can do that. So let's do this. So I'm going to go to the kick track, and I'm going to set the transient kind of high because that kick is plenty loud, and so I can avoid false triggering. Okay, so I'm going to, oh, what was that? Stretch, custom, control tab. I think that's all I want. Let me see what Alt Shift Z is. I think it's the same thing. Oh, it's just the opposite. Okay, well that's okay. Oh my god, I just forgot the name of that. Good. Sorry. Custom drop. Control tab. Control tab. Okay, so I'm going to hit Control tab. Okay, so watch what happens. Control tab. And I'm just going to hold it down. See how that's adding stretch markers across all the kicks? And it's adding them to everything that's grouped as well. The trouble is I can't exactly do this to just the snare track now. I would have to come all the way back and do that. But what I want to see is why was this thing phasing out? So I'm also going to put a stretch marker on that tom again, so we can do apples to apples. In fact, I could put it on this tom as well. And when I do the snap this time, let's see if it stretches like that. Now the snare's not right. That's going to be a problem, but we'll deal with that in a second. So let me hit X. I'm going to go to the snare, and just going to Control tab these. Just want to hear if it's going to phase at the very beginning like it did before. Okay, so I'm going to select this time, this area right here, move it, and let's listen for phasing. Okay, so that's some horrible phasing, right? Okay, so I'm going to take all those off. Take a second. So I'm not sure why this is phasing like this. I haven't edited drums in a few versions of Reaper updates, so maybe there's something weird going on. We'll find out. So let me get back to where we started. Okay. Okay. Let's look at the project settings again. Select all these again. I'm going to set these back to project default because that was not the problem. Yeah, there we go, project default. Okay, so I'm going to drop these on again. So let's go back to dynamic split. And what I don't want is doubled up ones that are right next to each other on the kick and snare. It should be that these guys will be different enough where I'm not going to have them double up like right there. So I'm going to turn the threshold up. Another trick you can do is to sum the kick and the snare to a single track and then run the dynamic split on that and force everybody to follow that. That works really well. But right now I just really want to know why we're getting this phasing. So let me just stretch these guys up and see what it does. See, that sounds phasy. Do that again. Now I'm wondering if the track-to-track sync is getting messed up or if something else is going on. Check the project settings again. Is it because I set this at 48? Let me set it back to 48K for now. And then stretch them and see what it does. Not bad. Still sounds a little phasy. Let's try some different stretch modes. Last efficient. Should really be working. Let's watch. Here's Elastic Pro. Oops. We got to get a stretched area. Hold on 1 second. In fact, I'm just going to leave this. I'm going to make a region right here so I can just keep going back and testing this. Okay, so it's going to be Elastic Pro. Let's listen to what that sounds like. Really phasy, right? How about Elastic Soloist? This is the most CPU munchy. Okay, Okay, that's horrible, right? It sounds like MP3 Space Monkeys or something. Okay, let's do... This normally works. Elastic 3 efficient usually works very well. Not super bad, but it's not ideal. Let's try some different modes here. So I'm going to go to transient optimize. Let's see what that does. Not good. This is not behaving well. How about tonal optimized? Really sounds bad. Let me ditch these markers again. Yeah, usually don't have trouble with it. There's other ways to do this, but I would rather not. Something's funny is going on, and I just need to figure it out. Yeah, add stretch markers again. I never have this problem. It really sounds like these guys are moving independently. They can't be. They're getting all the same values. Something funny is going on here. Go to Elastic 2 efficient instead of 3. I swear it sounds like one of these guys isn't going with the rest of them. 3. This is not usually a problem at all. See, everything's fine by itself. It's like these guys are moving independently, and they shouldn't. Let's look for make sure there's not some new version of Reaper here. Oh, there is. Who knows? But you know what? I'm gonna grab the latest one. Close this real quick. Okay, so it's still phasing. What's that about? Okay, let me try Elastic 3 again. This is crazy. I don't usually have this problem. Might have to sample rate. Playback resample mode. Ah, okay. Let's see this. It may just be the playback that's screwing up. So let's find out. So right now we are resampling I normally don't change this. This is usually just says. All right, brain. Try both on R8 brain. I almost want to render this and find out, but it really sounds like these things are moving independent of each other, and that's not usually how this goes. I'm really tempted to change sample rates here or to resample these guys. I really just want to set this back to default. Let's see if something else funny is going on here. I really am very confused right now. It really sounds like these guys are shifting independently, and that's not what should be happening. I'm gonna remove I'm gonna remove all the stretch markers in there. Yeah, I'm just gonna add it to the kick now. And see what that does. Yeah, okay, so this is bad. I'm not really sure what's going on. Track to track sync is not working with this. I don't know why. Let me take away all the stretch markers. I'm going to glue all these in place so that it's going to be at 48K instead. Let me just see what happens with that. Control Shift G. Okay. Let's try this again. Oops. So now they're not glued. So I'm gonna grouped. I'm gonna group them all. Okay, here we go. Now let's see what happens. It's still awful. What the world? Okay, so don't need any of that. Unglue this. Okay. Huh. All right. Well, this is very confusing. Yeah, this is not a normal occurrence. Okay, what's going on? I'm trying to see if something changed in the last couple of versions of Reaper that making track to track sync weird. Okay. It just feels like they're not moving together. showing the same numbers. Bonkers. That's interesting. So this is synchronized. Did that change? Synchronized. Let's go transient optimized. Oh, how about that? Okay, hold on. Oh, wait, they're not stretched. That's why. Duh. Sorry. I'm going to loop this. This is just bonkers. What happens if I render this? Yeah, I'm going to just render this little section right here. And see what happens to it when it's done. See if we still hear this phasing. Oh, we do. Okay, so that's not it. Oh, yeah, this is half of what this is about, right? Is figuring out why we're having these problems. Okay, I'm going to start a new project. I just want to see something. Project tab. And look at the project settings. Okay, so 64 and 192. 64 and 192. Sine C64, sine C192. Is that right? 64, then 192. Yep, okay. Something has changed. This is bonkers. Oh boy. I might have to go off and do some researching. Like this is. Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. Sorry, everybody. I am going to go and research this because